So I'm Helen. I head up the operations for FuturU. So I oversee everything from a client perspective, making sure that your training providers are happy, that they're getting everything they need from a service perspective, and that then leads on to obviously the support that they're giving yourselves. We've also got Nia on the call. So Nia is our EPA coordinator. She will be your main point of contact from a learner perspective. So through the booking process, if you've got any questions or queries throughout the process as you head towards endpoint assessment, Nia, oh hi Nia, Nia will be your main point of contact. We've also got Julie on the call. Julie's our head of quality and compliance. So she looks after our quality team, making sure that all our process is correct, making sure that everything's running smoothly. And yeah, ultimately the full process from the start of the EPA all the way through to you receiving your certification, making sure that all runs smoothly and it's fully quality assured. And then Linda, do you want to do a little intro on yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Linda Bartley and I also lead IQA here at FuturU. So I look after the Level 3 Safeguard and Support Officer, the Level 3 Team Leader Standard, the Level 4 Lead Practitioner in Adult Care, and the Level 5 Leader in Adult Care Standard as well.
Fantastic.
And I work alongside the rest of us within the FuturU team.
Brilliant. Thanks, Linda. If you can move on to the next slide, I'll just run through what we're going to cover today. And hopefully we'll give you as much information as you need. But like I said, any questions that you have, do let us know. So today we're going to talk through your EPA journey. So what you can expect from the point of coming to endpoint assessment with us. We're going to talk through what to expect on the actual day of your assessments, what you can do to prepare for your EPA, how to calm your nerves, because obviously it can be fairly nerve-wracking. You know, certainly the assessments, you know, some are under exam conditions, so they can be nerve-wracking. We've also got some frequently asked questions that some of you may have in your mind already. And then, as I mentioned, we've got a Q&A session as well. Next slide, please, Linda. So if we just talk about your EPA journey, so at the moment you're obviously coming towards the end of your apprenticeship, or you've already finished and you're heading into the next stage, which is the endpoint assessment. So the first thing that happens is that we will receive what's called Gateway. So that is a selection of documents that you will complete with your training provider and with your employer. And then they are the trigger for you to come to endpoint assessment with us. So we will receive those. And that now means that we can process you ready for endpoint assessment. What then happens is you will receive an invitation to book your assessment. So that comes via email, where you will have a link to our scheduling system. Now, in there is every standard that we do. So you just click on the one that's relevant for yourself, whether that be a level 2, a level 3, a level 4, a level 5. And then you will see an array of availability with a multitude of different assessors. So if you are looking to do your assessments out of hours, or you're looking to do them in the workplace at a set time, you can pick and choose a date and time that suits you. So it's really, really flexible, allows you to really kind of have that opportunity to do it at the best time for yourselves. Once you've made your bookings, you'll get a confirmation of those bookings, and we'll also send that on to your training provider, so they're fully aware that you've booked. In there will also be the name of your assessor, so you'll know who's going to be completing your assessments. Doesn't have to be with the same assessor. There will be different assessors available for whichever component that you're going to be booking. You'll also at the same time get an access to join our learning platform, where there's some sweet online learning. And for those of you that are undertaking assessments that involve a knowledge test or a situational judgment test, you will get access to our testing platform, which you will need to access on the day of the test, but you can also access prior. So you can go in and practice as much as you wish. And there's multiple options in there, so you won't be repeating the same questions. It will give you lots of different options. So you can do that revision prior, and we will talk about this later, but we encourage you now and leading up to your endpoint assessment to spend as much time with your assessors at your training provider as possible, making sure that you're doing mocks, making sure that you've got a good understanding of everything, and doing as much as you can in the lead up. So on the day, or potentially just the day before, you will receive a call from the assessor that is undertaking your assessment for that day. They will call from a mobile, so please be aware of that. They usually will follow up with an email as well, just introducing themselves. This is a great opportunity for you to speak to them, to maybe ask any last minute questions that you've got. They will make sure that you've got ID. You will need ID for the day. So they'll make sure that you've got that. They'll make sure that all your IT is set up. So if you've got any tech issues or anything, please make them aware at that time. But they'll do a full introduction, and that's an opportunity for them to put you at ease and make sure you know who the assessor is as well. You would have received a link to join a video call for your assessment. I assure you it will run a lot smoother than this one has, but you will receive a link to join your assessment. If you have any issues with the link or accessing the video or anything like that, then either speak to the assessor about it or get in touch with Nia, and she'll guide you through that and support where she can. So you complete your assessments. The next stage will be that they'll go through a quality assurance process. And then we will then feed that back to your training provider, where they'll get your results, and they will go over that with you. Within that will also be some feedback. So regardless of your grade that you came out with, there will be some feedback to what went really well, maybe areas that you need to develop on slightly, but they'll be able to share that all with you as well. Next slide, please. So just reiterating some of the stuff I just mentioned. So the best things to do right now to prepare for your EPA is access the platform to do some testing. So as soon as we've had your gateway through, you'll get access to that. But a lot of the training providers will have some mock material of these as well. So check in with your training provider, ask for mock discussions, ask for access to look at some mock SJT questions, as well as what we were giving you access to on the platform. And just ask any questions. And a biggie, and I think Linda will say this as well, is ask to see the assessment plan. It's really, really important. We do send that out on email as well. But again, refer back to your training provider to make sure that you've got everything that you need. And then prepare notes. Now, notes is a really crucial thing. You are allowed notes. Linda, do you just want to go into a bit more detail about the notes that you're allowed?
Yeah. So you're allowed to bring either one A4 sheet of paper, double-sided with bullet point notes, or it's two A4 sheets of A4 paper, single sides. You're allowed to have them in all of your assessments, apart from a situational judgment test. You're not allowed to have any notes with you. What we say is either handwrite them, or if you're going to do them on a PC, you're typing them up, please can you print them off, because you're not allowed to have your notes on a second device. So that's what we would say. But your assessors will discuss that and give you the guidance on the pre-calls as well.
And I think just to reiterate, please make sure you do use notes. We see a lot of people that come to the assessment without any. They're there for a reason. Utilise them. And they're going to be really helpful for you, even if it's just to jog your memory on a certain topic. They're really, really important that you do bring those with you.
Yeah, and the assessor will allow you to refer to them as much as you need to during your assessments as well.
Lovely. Thanks, Linda. If you can move on to the next one.
Yeah,
so that was kind of how to prepare. So that really spend some time with your training provider, really understand, that what is required of you. And then on the day, obviously, as we mentioned, you're going to get a call from the assessor. But the main things that you need to be doing is making sure you've got everything set up. So you've got your link. You've found a quiet spot. Now, this is really, really crucial. You can complete your assessments, obviously not observations, but you can complete majority of the assessments either at work or at home. But it's crucial that it's under exam conditions. So it needs to be a quiet place where you're not to be disturbed. So if it is in the workplace, for example, I would suggest just putting a note on the door, making sure that your colleagues know that you can't be disturbed. And then, yeah, and then you can have that under exam conditions. As we said, expect a call from your assessor. It's really important that you speak to them. It just gives you a bit of ease that, you know, you kind of have spoken to the person that you're going to spend, you know, the next couple of hours with. And have your ID to hand. This is important that you've got that, as well as obviously making sure that you're all set up and in a quiet place. Linda?
Yeah, okay, thanks, Helen. So obviously before your assessment, you know, it's great, you know, to try and calm your nerves down as best you can. You know, it's nothing to be frightened of. What we say is before the day of your assessment, leading up to it, prepare by doing some practice work. So, you know, if you can have mock assessments, mock PDs with your assessors, you know, that's great, because then, you know, you're going to have a greater understanding of what to expect on the day. You know, refer to the assessment plan, you know, have a look at the criteria that you're going to get assessed against for that assessment method. And if you're not sure of anything, you know, please check with your assessors, or when you have your pre-calls with our assessors, you know, if you need to ask them to give you any clarity, you know, they'll give you that as well. Again, take the time to prepare your notes before you're coming in for an assessment. So if it's for a professional discussion, take the time, have a look at your assessment plan and prepare notes. Learners tend to find that a great way of preparing the notes is, if they're not sure about legislations or models and theories, especially at level 4 and 5, it's a good way of putting those things into your notes, and they'll be great prompts to guide you through. What we say is get a good night's sleep, you know, try and have an early night before your assessments, you know, make sure that, you know, that you're nice and well rested, you've got everything prepared for the day. Check that you've got everything ready. Make sure that you've got, you know, power leads for any devices that you're using, and all of that thing. And make sure that, you know, that you on the, you know, for the day, that, you know, you've arranged childcare if you need to arrange childcare, because you can't have anybody else in the room unless it's an actual observation. On the day of your assessment, as Helen said, it's really important that you need to find a nice, comfortable and quiet room. You can do your assessments either at home or in the workplace. Even observations can be done at home. All you have to do is, for your other participants, if it's an observation, they'll have a copy of the meeting link and they can just dial in remotely to the meeting as well. But it's important that you have a nice room that's free from distractions, because once you start your assessment, you can't have people entering, you can't be responsible for service users, children, anything like that, and you want a really good internet connection. So just prepare you know, a note to stick on the door, put, you know, meeting or exam in progress, you know, and put the time frame so that no one's going to come in. You need to have photographic ID for all of your assessments. So it needs to ideally be in the name that you're on our system with. If it's different, you know, because you've got married, divorced, or for some other reason, you know, try to have, you know, additional evidence with you. If you don't have photo ID on the day, then you would need to get like a manager that's more senior than you to have their photo ID to come on with our assessor, and they would need to verify who you are. They would need to state who they are, the job role, how they know you, and show their photo ID. We would say try to be as prompt as possible, because ideally the start time of your assessment, the assessor is going to be keen to start at that time. So if you can jump on 5-10 minutes earlier, test the link, make sure it's working. If not, give the assessor that's doing that assessment method a quick call and just say, hi, so-and-so, I can't get into the assessment. They will guide you in there. That they're lovely and friendly, they'll put you at ease and they'll give you all the guidance that you need. We do recommend that you do have drinks with you. So, you know, if you like cold drinks, hot drinks, you know, make sure that you have those, because if it is a professional discussion or a presentation, you know, you are speaking, you know, for like up to 90 minutes if it's level 4, level 5. So you want to make sure that you've got access to drinks, you know, on your desk, on your table where you're working. Have your power lead there if you're using, you know, a computer, laptop, iPad, etc. And just believe in yourself. You know, you do your job every day. You know what you're doing. You've got all the sector experience. And what we say is, you know, yes, we appreciate that, you know, we can all get nervous, but your assessors are not there to catch you out. They're there to put you at ease, make your endpoint assessment as much as, you know, a positive experience for you. And they won't try to trick you with anything. You know, they're very supportive. If you get nervous, you know, they'll ask, are you okay? Do you need to just have a minute, you know, and then, you know, compose yourself, you know, if you're just getting a bit nervous. But we do say, you know, please, you know, once you start your assessments, ideally you can't be getting up and going off to the bathroom. So try to do things like that before you start. And you're there to showcase your knowledge, your skills, you know, all of that during your assessments. You know, if you don't understand something, the assessor's asking, just say, I'm sorry, I'm not sure what that means. Can you rephrase it for me? And if it's a question that's quite a meaty question, just ask the assessor, could they break it down for you? They're more than happy to do that. You know, they're there to support you as well. Okay. So tips to maximise your assessment grades. So it's really key for you to understand what the key command verbs mean. So it's understanding the difference between evaluate, explain, describe and compare. So we do say that, you know, spend the time before your assessments to understand what those keywords mean, so that you're not alarmed when, you know, there are assessors that are asking questions that begin with any of the command verbs. Take your time when you're responding in your assessments. There's no rush. You know, when you get asked something, don't feel you've got to jump in straight away. You know, digest it, process it, you know, answer the questions thoroughly, provide actual examples from your workplace of when you've dealt with things. You know, that gives more depth to your assessments as well. And connect responses to, you know, link it to things like your policies and procedures, legislations, you know, times when you've dealt with things as well. That will all, you know, go towards trying to achieve a higher grade. Demonstrate, you know, good comprehensive knowledge in your answers as well. The more, you know, information you give your assessor, the better. And highlight your role that you're in, you know, reference the responsibilities of your current role, you know, where it's relevant to certain questions as well. Share experiences, you know, draw on your professional background, you know, with confidence. You know, our assessors don't know anything about you apart from the key information we've got. So, you know, they're always interested, you know, when you're showcasing, you know, things that you've dealt with in your roles as well. And maximise the time. You know, obviously, if it's a 60-minute observation, you do have to meet that 60 minutes in line with meeting, you know, the regulatory requirements for that assessment. You know, if it's a 90-minute professional discussion for level 4 and 5, the assessor, you know, can add on up to 10% discretionary extra time for you, you know, to maximise you feel, finishing off your answers, to give as much. And what I would say is practice, practice, practice. The more practice you put in and spend the time prepping, ask your assessors, can I do a mock professional discussion? Can I do mock situational judgment tests? Because at the end of the day, you want to try and maximise getting the grades. Some assessments will have pass, merit, distinction. Some will only be a pass or a distinction. We don't want to see anybody not achieve their assessments. We want to see everybody at least get a pass or higher. And the assessors will stretch, they will stretch and challenge you in your assessments to try and pull out that information, to help you to achieve a distinction as well. So if you think, oh gosh, that they're asking and asking, it's because they know you've got that knowledge and information. They're just trying to maximise it to get you, to a distinction grade as well. But like I say, please, don't feel it's anything to be, scared of it. It's not. It's about you showcasing what you do in your job day in and day out. And the assessors do everything, to put you at ease as well. So just want to say good luck to you all when you do come through to us to sit your endpoint assessments.
Brilliant. Thanks, Linda. And I think, just to reiterate, I think it's really important. The assessors are not there to catch you out. They really want you to do well. We all want you to do well. Your assessors, your training provider want you to do well. So please, take the time to try and relax about the assessments, because we're really there to make sure you get the best experience. Just in terms of that, just wanted to share a bit of feedback, and I think Julie, you're going to share something in the chat as well. But just what our learners say about us. So one particular learner that we spoke to, exactly that. She said, try not to worry, but I know that's easier said than done. Really, the biggest thing for me was the assessor saying that they're not there to catch you out. They're there to help you pass. Just go for it. People are there to help you. There's always support out there. You just need to ask. You're never alone. And I think that's key. Myself, Nia, the quality team, we're there to support you as you head towards endpoint assessment. Our assessors are there to support you throughout the assessment journey. So anything you need, do shout as we head towards that. Julie, was there anything you were popping in the chat in addition to that around learners? Okay, fab. So obviously I can read through this, but if you want to look in the chat as well. So really interesting, and I hope you all get the same experience, but overall experience of completing EPA with us, 97% of learners would recommend us as their endpoint assessment organisation. And in terms of feedback, just so you're all aware, at the end of your assessment, you will receive a link to give us some feedback. It's really, really useful that you do, and it's really beneficial for us as a business. We like to take that away. We share that with the assessors. If there's anything that is constructive feedback, we will take that away as a team to make sure that we implement that as well for future experiences. But just to give you some snippets of the feedback, so assessors were professional, but showed empathy for my anxiety. The communication leading up to the professional discussion was helpful. Everything was explained clearly and very professional. The assessor was fantastic. From a personal perspective, I was very nervous leading up to the PD. However, she made me feel so relaxed, which helped me focus. And from this, the PD discussion, in my opinion, flowed nicely, very professional, made it a positive experience. Again, I was extremely nervous, and she was great in prompting me when I went back from nerves. I know there's some questions in there. I will come to those at the end as well as a collective. If we can move on to the next slide. So frequently asked questions. So hopefully this may cover some of the things that you guys have thought about. Will I get my results on the day? So overall, no. So essentially what will happen is anybody that is sitting an assessment that involves a knowledge test or a situational judgment test, you will know on the day whether you have passed or failed. But you won't know the overall grade for that. That will then go over to into our QA process and onto your training provider. As we do the assessments, they do need to go through quality assurance. So the overall grade will come slightly later. So just to give you some time frames around that, for some of our lower levels, the level 2, the level 3, you'd probably be looking at around 5 working days for that to be issued to your training provider. For the higher levels, you're probably looking about 10 working days for that to be issued to the training provider. If you're unsure or haven't received anything, follow up with your training provider first. And then if you're still not maybe finding out any answers, do come back to us and we can let you know. How long do I wait to get my certificate? So once you've had that grade and you've had any feedback that we've given, we have to allow a period of time should you wish to appeal anything. So that may be that you wish to raise a concern or appeal something to do with the process. And that has to be a 10-day window. So from receiving your overall grade, there's a 10-day period of time, and then that then goes off into certification, and there's about 15 working days, I believe, for the people that create the certificates to get that out to you. Depending on what's been organised with your training provider, that will either go to your employer or to your training provider for them to provide that to you. What happens if you don't pass first time? You do have another opportunity. So all of our standards have an opportunity for what we call a resit. So what that means is if you do unfortunately fail on that first attempt, we encourage you to go away with your training provider to review the feedback that we've given, and just do a bit more work to make sure that you do feel ready to do that again. But you certainly can do that again. And I would like to say that we pretty much do see second time pass rates as really, really positive. There's not many people that do fail overall. So I think do the work, listen to the feedback, take the feedback on board, and then we will just rebook you the same process as we do in the original. What should you do if you need to cancel or reschedule? Not a problem. We ask that where possible, we know it's not always the case, but if you do need to cancel or reschedule, that you do it as soon as possible. But yeah, certainly if you're speaking to the assessor that's calling you on the day, and you need to cancel for any reason, do let them know. If not, Nia will be the best point of contact for you to cancel or reschedule. And she'll liaise with you to then get the link again and rebook, etc. So I'm going to go to the chat first. Okay, so let's scroll right back up. Everyone can hear me, so that's good. Will the slides presentation be available after the webinar? Yes, they will. Unfortunately, the recording is probably not the greatest because you can only see me and Linda. But yeah, everything will be available. That will be issued to you. We do create a newsletter as well that this will be housed in, so you will receive everything. There is some additional resources as well that come alongside this, so we'll get our marketing team to share that as well with you. Oh, Nia's already answered that, so thank you. Yes, you're going to get the as I'm having some interruptions of work. Yep, no problems at all. It is your, well, any ID really, but ideally driving license, passport would be the best option. If it's a work ID, it does need to be a photographic work ID, and it does need to have the company name on it. Linda, correct? Yeah.
No.
Work
sorry,
ID.
yes,
Yeah.
work
Yeah.
ID. Yes. Sorry, Helen.
Yeah. That's all right. But yeah, driving license and passport would probably be the best option to begin with.
Yeah.
Can we request that our EPA is assessed by FuturU? So yes, 100%. I would say if you've been driven towards this meeting today, then you are already on board with us for us to do your EPA. So we would have only sent the link for this webinar out to people that have already been registered to sit their endpoint assessments with us. If that's not the case for any of you, then 100% you can request that we are your endpoint assessment organisation. Let's come on, but I'm determined to complete. So Jade, we do have, it might be worthwhile just picking up with your training provider. So we do offer reasonable adjustments for certain elements and certain diagnosis. So it may be worthwhile just picking up with them in the first instance and discussing that with them, because there's certain adjustments that we can put in place if that is relevant as well. So yeah, certainly pick up with who your assessor is at your training provider, and then they can liaise with Linda. Linda handles all of our reasonable adjustments, so they can liaise with her. Linda, do my notes have to be in bullet form and brief per section? She's doing the level 4.
Okay, it's as much as you can really get into the, to the limited amount that you can. As long as you bullet point it so that you're able to know what it is when you're referring to them. If in doubt, show the assessor. If in doubt, when you have your pre-call, mention it to our assessor, and you can ask her, can you send them to her so that she can just check them over before the day.
Yeah, anything like that. If you're unsure of anything, you would have had all of our contact details. You would have liaised with Nia more than likely. So if you are unsure of anything, do let us know. Like I said, we really want you to do well. We really want this to be a great experience for you. We love seeing people come through endpoint assessment. We love seeing people succeed. So anything you need, no question is silly. So just ask. But we'll share all of this with you. And then if there's any questions off the back of it, the email address is on that last slide. So you can always pop that through and that will come through to the team. I really appreciate all of your time today, and I really appreciate your patience given the situation with no cameras or mics. I would have loved to have seen everybody, but we will share it. Just to confirm, is FuturU sort of an external assessor, which means we'll be seeing completely? Yes. So what basically happens is you will have your set assessors with T2 that you have through the whole of your apprenticeship. So that may be a team of assessors, it may be one particular assessor. And then once you finish your apprenticeship, that is when we step in as endpoint assessment organisation. So it will be our assessors that do it, but T2 would have had all of our resources. They would have had all of the support that we give. So they're gearing you up to come to us, but when you get to us, it will be our assessors that get involved. But we work very closely with T2, so they've got a good understanding of our processes as well. Any other questions? I hope we've answered everything. I hope we've given you some reassurance. And again, I really apologise for the technical issues on today's webinar. We do host these quarterly as well. So if you've got any other colleagues that are also going through the same process, but they're maybe not as far ahead as yourselves, do recommend them to join this as well, because we think it's been beneficial. And we will gather some feedback on this session as well. I fully appreciate it's not ideal with the tech issues, so please feel free to put that in the feedback if you wish, but it'd be great to get some feedback on how you found it and the content, etc. And Julie just has put Jade some information in the chat about reasonable adjustments as well. Any other questions at all before we say goodbye? Do I need to have all my assignments printed, portfolio ready?
No. So
no.
If it's team leader or ODM, you can actually access your portfolio of evidence online with your assessor. So no, you do.
Yeah.
If you don't want, ideally use the online system. But yeah, and you can discuss that with your assessor from here, from FuturU. But we do get an odd learner that does have it printed off, but the assessor has access to that as well.
What level are you, Taku? If it's a level 2, 3, 4, 5 in care, level 5, no, there's nothing we need to have submitted prior. No.
Is it ODM level? Is it the level 5 ODM or is it
ODM or care?
Care?
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. If it's care, you don't have to have anything ahead of time. For my presentation, do I have to show the assessor this before the presentation?
No, the assessor's already got access to that because your train and provider uploads that at Gateway, and then our assessor views it before you come into your assessments.
you'll get all guidance, Danielle, of how that gets
Yeah.
uploaded and everything as
Yeah.
well. So no, you don't. They'll have access to that, and they'll be reading that, looking at that, prepping that before your assessment. And TACU, for level 5 health and social care, there's nothing you need to submit prior. That all just sits with your training provider.
Yeah, it'll just be your observation activity proposal for your observation.
Can I do? Do you mean with the photo on it, the photo page? If you haven't got anything else with photo on it, then probably the best is maybe, if it's a photo page and it's got your name and everything on it, then that's fine.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Any other questions? Brilliant. Well, thank you once again. Thank you for your patience and understanding around the tech issues. Hope you found it beneficial. Like I said, the email address is there. If you've got any questions, do shout. We really look forward to welcoming you into EPA and seeing you all succeed. So thank you so much.